Hi everyone, Lauren here with Enlighten Together. Happy 2014. Really looking forward to the year. Before I get into this video, I just want to point out my awesome sweater. I recently went out and found this cool sweater that had dinosaur fossils on it. And now it makes me sad that I'm not at Humboldt State anymore taking geology, because I'd be pretty cool if I showed up with this sweater. But it was a really cool find, and I look forward to people making comments about it in the future. Today what I wanted to talk about is a recent blog that I put up on enlightentogether.com, which is, what is the point of Enlighten Together? Because it seems as of recent there's been a number of people coming to the broadcast who have been asking, what is the point of this show? Is it all about you, what you want to learn? Do you have anything that you want to accomplish with it? I mean, what is it about it? And sometimes I get a little frustrated with these questions and these responses because it seems like people don't understand what Enlighten Together truly is about. At the same time, it's good because it does make me think about how should I get the message across to people of what Enlighten Together is, what our purpose is, what the mission is. And it's really good to think about that, to try to keep our priorities in straight, keep my priorities in straight in line in what I'm doing. So I just wanted to go over a little bit of why I started Enlighten Together back in 2012. I was in school attending university, and I realized that even though I've grown up here in America, even though I've graduated from high school, even though I've performed well in school altogether, including university, that I really have no right or position to vote. And this is largely due to my lack of knowledge and understanding of all kinds of aspects of modern living. This is kind of ironic because this is one of the big things about America, right? Being able to vote, having the freedom, democracy, things like that. But I realized that I had such little understanding about resources such as food, water, energy. I knew very little about the political system. I know little about medical insurance, or taxes. I know so little about this, which is disappointing because these are basic necessities, basic parts of our lives. I mean, we need food, we need water, we need health insurance, or health care to a certain extent. And so I came to this realization that I know so little about these things that I honestly feel that I shouldn't vote. And the thing is that this isn't just me that is in this type of situation. This is so many other people, because I think of all the students that I went to school with starting from first grade, and all of my classmates that were brought up the same as me. Sure, we learned how to write and read, which is good. We learned math, we learned history, but we learned nothing about modern living and what really is expected of our communities so that we have these resources. So this is why I turned to starting something like Enlighten Together. I said, you know what, I am obviously not learning what I need to learn from school, from university. I was in college for honestly almost 4 years, and I went for business and geology, and I learned very little, if not any. I learned nothing about my current life, what is impacting my life. And so I said, you know what, this is a problem. It's my responsibility to learn, and that is why I launched Enlighten Together. I said, I want to have a group of people who come together where we go over documentaries, we share information, we share news. We really keep ourselves in tune with what's going on in the world, and we educate ourselves about basic living, of food, water, energy, what's going on in these sectors that people in general don't really discuss. We don't hear about it in the news. So that's why I launched Enlighten Together. And as it's progressed, I have determined that it is about two things. This is what Enlighten Together is about. And take this to heart, because I know that Enlighten Together, when you come to the broadcast, it may seem like, some subtle show. It may seem like there's nothing going on because we're not out on the streets protesting. We're not out getting involved with lobby groups or anything like that. But take to heart what I'm saying about what Enlighten Together is, because to be honest, Enlighten Together is addressing, in my opinion, the core problems, not only in the U.S., but in the world, which is which is lack of communication and lack of education. Okay? But I'm going to address two aspects, primary aspects of what Enlighten Together is about. Number one is Enlighten Together is about you, the viewer. Okay? That is why I started the group. I didn't start the group for me to be the person controlling everything that we talk about. And you know, I did it for two reasons. I obviously said I want to have people involved with the group. I want to have input coming from viewers. That's true. You guys are much more educated than I am on so many topics. I mean, it's really fun as I get to talk to some of you, and some of you are involved with engineering, some of you are involved with growing plants, and some of you have more background in the nuclear energy field or something like that. And so that's why I wanted to get viewers involved, so that we can start a network of people who have different backgrounds and can really be resourceful to one another in terms of learning information. If you don't believe me about that, I'll say my number two reason for including viewers in the broadcast is because it just creates less work on me. I mean, it's a lot of work to go out and find content to go over. It's a lot of work to find information to put up on Facebook and things like that. So when you guys share information with me, it alleviates the stress on me of the amount of work I have to do to find content. So you guys get to show who you are, show what your interests are, what you think other people should be learning about, and then it kind of makes it easier on me. So it's a win-win situation. Okay, so that's one aspect of Enlighten Together, which is you as the viewer being able to voice what you feel is relevant and important. Okay, number two, and this is the most important aspect of Enlighten Together altogether, which is communication and education, intertwining it. Because as I previously pointed out, even though I've gone to college, I graduated from high school with a 4.0, I feel so ignorant on so many topics that I and other people would be voting on here in the country to advance, to develop, things like that. So I realized that we have to take education into our own hands, which is what we do. Every week we go over documentaries. I bring up articles that you guys share with me, or sometimes you bring up articles in the broadcast, and it will be anything. It might be from BBC, it might be from some weird YouTube channel or something like that, but we go over content and then we communicate. We discuss it. We throw in our insights. Again, some of you are much more knowledgeable on certain topics than I am, or than what other viewers are. So some of you are able to say, oh, well, the reason why it happened this way is because of this. Or you can also say, oh, well, something that's better than nuclear energy is this. So we communicate, we educate, and that is what is really so important. I see it whenever I go out. It's lacking, you know. I don't know what your guys' experiences are, but you know, when I go out in society and I run into people that I know, or you know, people say hello to me, what is generally the way that we communicate? It's like, hi, hello, how are you doing? Oh, I'm good. Oh, is your son doing well? Yeah, he's good, and everything's fine. I'm doing well in school. You know, it's just really surface conversation. No one really wants to bring up or get involved in these deep conversations about, hey, what is going on with our resource system here in America in relation to population growth and whatnot. So there's really this lack of opportunity to communicate and discuss these subjects with people. That's why I started Enlighten Together. And this is a really deep subject. I know, Enlighten Together, this is something I said from the beginning that I don't want Enlighten Together to do. What I don't want Enlighten Together to do or to be is just a typical lobby group to help other lobby groups with their agendas. For example, I mean, we hear so much about the negativity of GMOs. It's obviously everywhere. I remember here in California, we went over it. There are campaigns on the TV. There were billboards about voting against GMOs and things like that. But what's the other aspect of it? I mean, that's just one side of the table, is the negativity of GMOs, but obviously there's the positive side of GMOs. So I did not want Enlighten Together to just be some group that comes together and kind of be a conspiracy group, if you know what I mean, where we simply say, oh, well, obviously GMOs are bad, so Enlighten Together states that GMOs are bad. I did not want to be a group that comes together and says, oh, well, fracking is bad, so Enlighten Together as a whole says that we vote against fracking, because there's the other side of fracking, which is we obtain a resource that we need. So really, Enlighten Together is not here to take a stance on certain issues that seem obvious. Instead, we're here to discuss and try to obtain multiple views, if you understand what I mean. What's the positives of GMOs? What's the negative of GMOs? What's the positives of fracking? What's the negatives of fracking? What do scientists have to say about this? Because it's very easy to go on Google, search fracking, and come across a lot of conspiracy sites or sites that don't have good references in their information, and to come to a conclusion based upon faulty data. So what we're coming here for is to learn and to communicate, but to not jump the gun and say, oh, well, I support this organization because I'm against fracking. That's not what Enlighten Together is about. We're here to obtain a full understanding and to go from there. This is not a conspiracy group. This is an educational group. Even though we'll go over conspiracies, we'll go over, a lot of information that people might typically want to toss to the side, but we'll go over it, okay? We'll discuss it. We'll talk about the pros and cons. We are learning and we are discussing, and this is what our country needs, this is what America needs, what the world needs, what our communities need, which is more communication and learning. Because you're not going to learn this stuff, what we talk about Enlighten Together, you're not going to learn this in school. You're not going to learn this by taking a class at university or anything like that. This is a community. Enlighten Together is a community where we are coming together, we are deciding what to go over, we are discussing it, we're bringing our opinions, we're bringing our knowledge, and trying to gain a full spectrum of understanding on particular topics. This is critical, okay? Because, again, it's so easy to just Google information that's faulty data. I'm trying to stray from that. I grew up doing that, just, doing an essay, getting on Google, researching, and who's to say where that information came from. Enlighten Together, even though it seems like we're a peaceful group, that we are really not an activist group, I really view Enlighten Together as an activist group. I think it is critical that we acknowledge and are conscious of our misunderstanding of our environment and our ignorance. And once we come to that understanding and we're able to come together to learn and discuss, we have a much more open mind, we will educate ourselves and become more aware of what's happening in our societies. This is important. This is honestly activism, okay? This is taking a stand for something. If you support Enlighten Together, you are supporting communication and education. Now, we might not be out supporting, again, anti-fracking or, being at some anti-GMO campaign or something like that. But we're ultimately saying, you know what, we need to come together, learn, and discuss based upon our own initiatives, our own motivation. This is needed everywhere. Everywhere. The individual level, the societal level, county level, whatever it is. So that is what Enlighten Together is about. And it's not just my agenda. Sometimes it might seem that way, because what I do is I open up the doors for you guys to share documentaries with me. Share documentaries, interviews, panel discussions, primarily YouTube videos, whatever contains information. And so when I don't get those videos from you guys, when I send out an email and I'm like, hey, I need some help here, we're going over solar, but I'm wondering if you guys have any recommendations for videos, and I don't receive any recommendations, then it's on my shoulders to go out and find those videos, to go out and find the content to go over, which it's extra work for me as the broadcaster to do that. But personally, I say on a personal level, I I have this dedication to learning. I would even be doing this on a personal level. I've been nice enough to open it to all of you by starting the broadcast Enlighten Together. So again, understand that you are welcome to share what you wish to share through Enlighten Together. I encourage it to be well-backed information, such as having, decent resources or links on the site showing that research was done. But you guys are open to do what you want. I mean, this is your show. This is your broadcast. Okay? I know that we predetermine topics, such as we've been doing energy now for honestly 4 or 5 months, which I don't have a problem with, and it seems like most of you don't either. You enjoy discussing these topics. You enjoy being on top of topics such as fossil fuels and renewable energy and technological advancement. I know many of you enjoy learning about alternative methods of living and things like that. So it seems like that's what Enlighten Together is going towards, is learning about how to improve our living, how to address these problems, it seems, that exist right now. If you don't like the direction that Enlighten Together is going with, then feel free to contact me. Let me know. Share some videos, okay? I like to see the other side of the spectrum, of course, which is good to have, good to know, and it's, to be honest, required. Okay? So I hope that gives you guys some insight what Enlighten Together is about. You can go to our website, enlightentogether.com. Please support us. Please support the broadcast. Share whatever information you have. You can make a donation. You can contact me. I am now connecting Enlighten Together with my personal online marketing consultation services called growwithlaurenl.com. Any support that you have is really appreciated, really great. I really hope to see Enlighten Together advance. I don't see myself going anywhere else in the future. I've done all kinds of broadcasts before. I've done various YouTube channels, and Enlighten Together is where it's at. I feel really dedicated to Enlighten Together. I feel that the point of Enlighten Together is worthy, that this is worthy of support, and that we have a lot to offer people all over the world. I thank all of you who have been supportive of Enlighten Together. I have to be honest, even though Enlighten Together may not seem very impressive in terms of viewership and things like that, really, I'm glad that we're here to where we are today. I'm glad that Enlighten Together still exists, because I've been involved with projects before where I worked on it for a year, developed something over a year, and then abandoned it due to lack of interest. But Enlighten Together has been really cool. All of you have been really cool. I really appreciate you coming to the broadcast and being a part of the discussions and the shows. Thank you very much. Again, go to enlightentogether.com to keep up with our activity. You can join our mailing list. And I do broadcast on Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.